You may kiss the bride. The newlywed couple leaned in, sealing their vows with their kiss as the crowd erupted into cheers and applause. The venue was filled with love, laughter, and the warm glow of fairy lights. From afar, a girl admired the scene, her eyes shimmering with excitement. Oh, how cute, she squealed. Clasping her hands together, she turned to her mother, Mrs. Kang, who was calmly sipping her juice. God knows when he will write married in my fate. She rolled her eyes dramatically, singing in frustration. Unfortunately for her, Mrs. Kang was mid-sip and ended up choking on her drink. Catching, she sent a sharp glare at her daughter before lightly slapping the back of her head. Yuan yelped, rubbing the spot. How many times have I told you not to bring up this topic? Why not? Look over there, my cousin just got married. Why can't I? Mrs. Kung let out a tired sigh, placing her empty glass on the table. For your kind information, dear child, she has graduated and is running her own small company. What do you have? A messy room with the inability to wake up before noon, and you expect me to get you married? Yuan gasped, placing a hand on her chest. Mom, please say yes. I swear I will change. God promise. She clasped her hands together, giving her mother her best pleading look. Mrs. Kang crossed her arms, unimpressed. Stop your drama. No marriage until you graduate and stand on your own 2 feet. Yuan pouted. Yuan was the only child of the Kang family, carefree and stubborn. Her parents adored her but wished she would take life more seriously. Unfortunately, Yuan hated studying. Her dream was to get married not for love but simply to escape from study. But her parents refused to entertain the idea. By the way, tell me, who would even marry you? No one is going to take an uneducated girl like you seriously. Yuan's jaw dropped. Excuse me, boys are desperate to marry me. You just wait and watch. Mrs. Kang raised an eyebrow. Fine, I will allow it on one condition. Yuan's eyes sparkled. Really? If you can find a suitable groom here at this wedding, then I will think about it. Yuan's excitement instantly faded. That's not fair, Mom, but fine. Challenge accepted. I will find someone and I will get married. Just watch. She flipped her hair dramatically and merged off into the crowd, determined. Mrs. Kang juggled as she watched her daughter go. Silly girl. Just then Mr. Kang approached with a curious look. What did she do this time? Nothing new, just another excuse to avoid studying. Now she is off to find herself a groom. Mr. Kang let out a deep chuckle. This girl, why does she hate studying so much? Oh please, she gets that from you. Excuse me, I studied just fine. Mr. Kang showed him a knowing look. How can she say a businessman like this? Yeah, whatever. Just keep an eye on your daughter before she actually drugs some poor boy here and demands a wedding. Mr. Kang laughed. Knowing her, I wouldn't be surprised. The two continued their playful bickering as somewhere in the crowd, Yeon began her mission, Operation Find a Groom. A tall man stood at a distance from the crowd, his sharp gaze focused on his phone. He was engaged in a call, his voice low and commanding. The conversation was brief. As soon as he ended the call, a sudden tap on his shoulder made him turn around. Before him stood a girl, slightly breathless, scanning the wedding venue with frustration. Yuan had been searching for a groom for what felt like hours, only to realize that every man she approached was either already married or in a relationship. Tired and annoyed, she let out a huff. Everyone is married except me. But then her eyes landed on him, a tall, strikingly handsome man dressed in a black suit that hugged his broad frame perfectly. His expression was unreadable, a cold aura, but that only made him more intimidating. Without hesitation, she marched towards him. Jungkook's brows furrowed as he watched a girl approach him with a determined step. Hi, Silence. The man Jungkook said nothing, his dark eyes simply observing her. Are you married? No. His voice was deep, calm, and unreadable. Yuan's face lit up instantly. Great, finally. Jungkook tilted his head slightly, still processing what was happening. Do you have a job? I mean, do you work? Jungkook narrowed his eyes slightly but replied, I have. Yuan clapped her hands together, looking victorious. Marry me. Jungkook blinked. For what? For the first time in a long while, he was caught off guard. His brows frowned as he stared at the girl before him. She was bold, straight to the point. Most women hesitated in front of him, intimidated by his presence, but not her. I want to get married. You look like you are of marriageable age. Your parents must have been pressuring you too, right? So let's get married. Jungkook let out a quiet scoff, but interested by her talk. Why would I? Yuan mumbled something under her breath, pouting slightly. Jungkook found the way she mumbled her words somewhat amusing, cute, but his cold exterior remained intact. Just then, a voice called out, Yuan. Yuan turned towards the voice. It was her mother, waving at her from across the venue. Wait here, okay? Don't move, she ordered before running off towards her mother. Jungkook watched her retreating figure, an amused smirk playing on his lips. Interesting. At that moment, his secretary Josh approached him. Sir, Jungkook turned his head slightly, acknowledging him. Find out everything about that girl. Josh, who was also his most trusted right-hand man, nodded without question. Before leaving, Jungkook glanced one last time in Yeon's direction. For some reason, this girl had grown curiosity, and Jungkook never ignored things that which he found interested.
뜨거운 듯한 네 heart so bad, so dark. I want to bet on your boy, put out your guard. Yeah, as relentless how I know. I feel there's nobody's close to me. There's nothing out of me to me. Yeah, say I'm falling in
Jungkook sat behind his desk. His gaze occasionally drifted towards Jeon's cabin, just a few steps away. It had become a routine for him. He had made sure he was placed near his office so he could see her, though he would never admit it aloud. It was a decision he had made in silence, and Josh had teased him for it on several occasions, calling him out on his quiet obsession. But Jungkook didn't care. His heart had begun to soften in a way he didn't understand. He had always been cold, calculated, and guarded, but Yeon was different. Behind her bubbly, extroverted nature, she was incredibly talented and mature. In the past month and a half, Jungkook had seen her shine in ways her peers couldn't. She was more than a pretty face or a carefree spirit. There was a sharp mind and determination hidden inside her. The reason he had pushed for her to intern at his company was simple. He knew her parents wouldn't approve of their relationship. They were too traditional, and he understood the difficulties she would face in trying to convince them. So he made a plan. By bringing her into his world, he could protect her from the pressure of her family while slowly getting closer to her. Jungkook didn't realize it at first, but somewhere along the way he had fallen for her, the girl who in her own chaotic way had wormed her way into his heart. He couldn't let her go, not now. The meeting room buzzed with excitement as employees took turns presenting their work. Yeon sat at the table, practically vibrating with excitement. Today was the first time she had done something confidently, and she was eager to showcase her hard work. Jungkook, seated at the head of the table, glanced at her, a small, secretive smile played on his lips. He wouldn't admit it, but seeing her so happy made something in his chest warm. Then it happened. Next, Rosie will present, the manager announced. Yeon clapped politely until her smile dropped. The screen lit up with her slides, her research, her ideas. Rosie stole her presentation. Yeon's eyes widened, her breath hissed, but she didn't say anything. She wanted to. She really did, but suddenly her confidence wavered. Rosie stood at the front, speaking proudly, pretending the work was hers. She threw glances at Jungkook, as if trying to impress him. Jungkook, however, didn't even glance at her. Instead, his sharp gaze landed on Yeon. He noticed how her hands curled into fists in her lap, how her lips pressed together in hesitation. That was enough. Stop. Jungkook was cut through the room, freezing Rosie mid-sentence. She blinked, confused. Sir? Jungkook leaned back in his chair, his expression cold, unreadable, but his eyes deadly. Are you sure you did this? His deep voice sent chills down at the room. Rosie hesitated for half a second before forcing a confident smile. Of course, sir. I worked really hard on this project. Really? Jungkook raised an eyebrow, his fingers tapping lazily on the table. Tell me, how did you conduct the research? I analyzed the data thoroughly and… What data? The room fell silent. Jungkook tilted his head, his stare unforgiving. Because from what I know, this presentation belongs to her. He flicked his gaze towards Yeon. Jungkook picked up the remote, clicking onto the last slide. The final notes section popped. Yeon's name was written at the bottom. Unfortunately, she forgot to delete her name. The meeting room erupted in whisper. Jungkook turned to Rosie, his expression never wavering. You stole someone else's work and presented it as your own. His voice dropped, sending a shiver through the air. Sir, I can explain. You don't need to. Rosie saluted her confidence crumbling. You are fired. Rosie breathed haste. Please, sir, leave. His tone left no room for argument. Rosie's face turned red from embarrassment as she grabbed her things and hurried out. Jungkook finally looked at Hyun. She was staring at him, stunned. Hyun's heart skipped a beat. The way Jungkook had spoken for her, protected her, it made her chest feel strangely warm. A few minutes later, she finally stood at the front of the room, delivering her presentation. Despite the earlier tension, she pushed through. She spoke confidently, presenting her idea with passion. When she finished, the room was silent for a second. Then, applause filled the air. Hyun blinked, her lips parting in surprise. They were clapping for her. She had done it. Before she could finally process it, Jungkook stood up. Her breath hissed as he worked towards her, his tall frame imposing it somehow comforting. Stopping in front of her, her gaze down, his expression unreadable. Then, in a voice softer than usual, he said, "Good job, Miss Yeon. Well done." Yeon's cheeks flashed. A small shy smile crept onto her lips. Jungkook leaned in slightly, his dark eyes looking onto hers. His voice lowered just enough for her to hear. "But next time, speak for yourself. I wouldn't always be there." Hyun shallowed, nodding shyly. Jungkook smirked. Starting up before walking up back to his seat, her heart thumped quietly.